The government released the details of payments to doctors by every pharmaceutical and medical device manufacturer in the country. And it's not pretty. They say, quote, there have been 3.4 million payments since 2009, totaling more than $4 billion, of which $2.5 billion was for research. For 2013 alone, there were 1.2 million payments valued at nearly $1.4 billion. So let me pause here for a second and explain how the money that's given from these pharmaceutical companies to doctors for research, even that's not a good thing. Some people might argue that, no, that actually makes sense because we're evaluating these new drugs, and these new drugs could be a breakthrough for this disease or that problem. No, because when you take money from a pharmaceutical company to do a study on something, there are strings attached. It's not objective. There's a conflict of interest if the company that's making the drug funds the study of the drug, because what they're going to do is try to get people who are sympathetic to their cause, even if the drug might not work in the end result. So that's not even a good thing. And, of course, all the money is not for that purpose. There's a lot of the money is simply for, hey, we're just going to give you some money because we like your style as a doctor and we want you to push our products. Just push them. And let me ask you a question. How is that any different from illegal drug dealers? Okay, when you have somebody who's giving you money and giving you free product, taking you on vacations, which often happens, by the way, you're going to try to push their product. I mean, that's the way the world works. If somebody gives you money on a vacation and free product, so on and so forth, they befriend you. See, this is the problem with off-label uses. That's something we've talked about in the past before. There are drugs that were not FDA approved, but they were allowed to be used for off-label uses. Come to find out, the stuff that the doctors were pushing it for does not help in any way at all for whatever given problem the person had. They say, quote, surveys conducted in 2004 and again in 2009 showed that more than 3/4 of doctors had at least one type of financial relationship with a drug or medical device company. That is stunning. Almost all of them is what that tells me. So let me give you the numbers released this week. There are between 800,000 and 900,000 doctors in the U.S. in total. Okay, so keep that in mind as we run through this here. So how many doctors have taken money or product from Pfizer? 142,600. AstraZeneca, 111,000. Forrest, 99,000. Johnson & Johnson, 97,000. GlaxoSmithKline, 85,000. AbbVie, 83,000. Boehringer Ingelheim, I've never even heard of these ones, 83,000. Merck, 81,000. Eli Lilly, 79,000. Novartis, 64,500. So, again, add everything up together. Okay, some doctors take from multiple pharmaceutical companies, some doctors take from one, very few doctors take from none, and what you get is about 3/4, a little over 3/4 of the doctors in the U.S. are accepting product and money from pharmaceutical companies. This is horrendous, because what you're doing is you're taking something that is should be an honorable profession, where these people are legitimately heroes in many respects. Okay, doctors, I mean, they fix human beings like they're cars. They diagnose you, they see the problem, okay, let's do this, blah, 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 here's some antibiotics, and rest for 3 days, boom, you're back on your feet, you're better. It's a very honorable thing, okay, and they deserve the utmost respect. But when you read stuff like this, you go, fuck you, now you're going to turn away people from going to you because now they think, well, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit because you're all totally corrupt and you're just doing the bidding of the pharmaceutical companies and you're pushing pills that you shouldn't be pushing and you're just like any other business. And there is a grain of truth to that. Now, look, even after going through all this, what I tell people, don't go to the doctor, of course not. Look, it still makes sense to go to the doctor. You're still, in the overwhelming majority of cases, going to be helped by going to the doctor. But should you keep in mind that if a doctor pushes some off-label stuff, that maybe you should be very skeptical of what they're pushing? Absolutely. Should you try to find a way to, and I think there's a new app that's doing this, a new company that's on top of this, should you try to find a way to determine, well, what pharmaceutical companies are giving my doctor money or giving him or her product? You should absolutely do that too. And from a legal perspective, they have to put an end to this, man. I don't know what the answer is. What my gut tells me is that it's the same solution for pharmaceutical companies as it is for the healthcare and health insurance system in general, that we should, of course, have a national healthcare system. We should have Medicare for all. The government should be the insurer. That's why they call it a single-payer system, because the government is the single insurer. They pay everything via tax dollars. And my gut tells me that that's what we should do for pharmaceutical companies, too, that we set up an incentive structure that, makes it so that people want to innovate and want to come up with better products, and you take away the business aspect to the system, because when you have the business aspect in the system and it's for profit, you get a result like this, where lobbyists basically make doctors, by giving them perks and money, they make them push pills that people don't really need. So I don't know what the total answer is. You'd have to talk to an expert on this, but I do know that what's happening now with the doctors being influenced by pharmaceutical companies, that's not a good idea.